I joined the Gluckstein firm in 2013, so I've now been here 11 years. I joined from a previous 20-year practice, also strictly in the personal injury field. And the question is, what drew me to the Gluckstein firm in the first place back in 2013. The practice that I had been in had dissolved because my former law partner was appointed to the Superior Court bench, and therefore I came on board at Gluckstein. What attracted me most, I think, was the fact that I understood the Gluckstein firm to be a very client-centric practice. It had a long-standing reputation, decades long, in the insurance and personal injury industry. Just based on the solid reputation alone, I felt that this was going to be a good home for me to continue my practice, and that's what I did. I also was familiar with several of the principals of the firm over years that had passed, and interactions that we had. So I felt entirely comfortable joining the Gluckstein firm, largely because of its longstanding history and reputation. It became apparent to me once I joined the firm, not only the fact that it was a totally client-centric practice, placing clients first and foremost, but it was also an extremely well resourced firm. In the personal injury field, that's extremely important because the vast majority of clients look to the law firm for reliance upon the firm's resources. Most clients cannot realistically afford the high cost of litigation. But one thing that stood out was that this firm was committed to assisting clients in every way possible. A good part of that would involve financing the litigation that we were involved in order to get the best possible experts involved and to achieve the most effective results for the clients. That was an important factor, and that's what made Gluckstein as a firm stand out in my mind, and it is very much what sets this firm apart from many of the other firms that share this industry on the plaintiff side. The other, of course, aspect of the practice that attracted me was that it was a purely plaintiff practice, and that was my particular bailiwick, as opposed to what stood out in my mind as well was the diversity of the practice itself, and that has grown in recent years, which again makes this firm perhaps different than many other firms. The Gluckstein firm is involved in every aspect of personal injury work, whether it is motor vehicle, medical malpractice, sexual abuse and assault, occupiers liability, mass torts, class proceedings, and so on. The firm does take on litigation in all of those areas, so we have a diverse client base, and we're exposed to all of the key areas of practice in this province. The other aspect of practice with the Gluckstein firm that I find unique, in a sense, is that the managing partner and co-founder of the firm, Charles Gluckstein, is extremely involved in the legal technology side of practice. He's well known for that. He lectures on the subject, and importantly, he developed this practice years ago, well ahead of the curve, into essentially a paperless practice. The technology that has evolved in this firm through Charles' direct involvement in its development has allowed us to communicate much more effectively with our clients, with other lawyers, with the court system. It allows us to get the work done more effectively, more efficiently for clients. So That is yet another major feature of the Gluckstein practice that certainly I have found to be a tremendous asset from a professional standpoint and from a client standpoint as well. Incredible aspect of practice with the Gluckstein firm is its outreach involvement. And by that I mean this firm has been involved extensively in the community outside the office, the legal community, the healthcare community, the rehab community. Interactions between this firm and the members of this firm and those communities that I just identified is ongoing. It's practically weekly. It's not a one-off or occasional involvement. The firm is continuously involved in seminars, putting on seminars, webinars, and conferences that extend out into various communities depending on the subject of the activity itself. And that has given the firm a high profile in terms of its involvement in the various areas of practice that I mentioned earlier. And it has also led to the greater success of the firm because of the relationships that have been developed with the healthcare community and the legal community at large. That is yet another feature of the Gluckstein law firm that I find different and perhaps somewhat unique. Of course, there are other firms that have outreach as well, but probably few at the same level that this firm has that kind of involvement. Personal injury law, which is really the only area of practice that I've known over the past 42 years since I started practice, it has evolved dramatically. We have experienced major shifts in the way in which we practice, and equally in the way in which the law itself has evolved. In fact, the need for the lawyers in this firm is greater, in a sense, now than it was decades ago because of the complexity that has emerged in the law, in practice, to the point where personal injury compensation system, particularly in the motor vehicle field, has become very challenging for clients and for lawyers as well. We are now dealing, unlike decades ago, with, at least in the motor vehicle area, thresholds that have to be met, high deductibles that have to be navigated. We are met with complex interactions between various systems that we deal with on a day-to-day basis, such as the statutory accident benefit system and the tort system. There are similar complexities that we encounter in dealing with motor vehicle claims or occupiers' claims or medical malpractice claims, for example, when we're dealing with long-term disability carriers, their employment issues, and so on. So there's a lot of interface, a lot of interaction between systems that certainly were not as prominent years ago. So the landscape has changed and has evolved over the past, I would say, 20 to 30 years in particular. I'll also note that the pandemic that, of course, emerged in 2020, March 2020, led to a lot of changes as well in the system, particularly for personal injury practitioners, but across the board, I think, fairly speaking. So we've seen a real evolution in the practice of personal injury law over the years. We are in an era now of mandatory mediation, for example, where the system itself sort of focused on removing litigation from the system because of the backlogs and so on that seem to create a huge delay and basically prevent people from getting the justice that they're seeking in a timely way. So mediation has emerged as a useful means of resolving claims. We take all of that very seriously. That did not exist years ago, so that is positive. Another change that we've seen over the more recent years is how the courts have sort of come into the 21st century, relying now much more on technology than ever before. A lot of that was the result of the pandemic, but it has continued so that we are now looking at discoveries, mediations, and motions and trials in a digital medium. A lot of these proceedings are virtual in nature. So that has been a shift, a dramatic shift in the way we practice as lawyers, something that probably was spurred on largely by the pandemic itself. There are great efficiencies that come out of that new wave. However, there are criticisms we hear voiced often enough, and largely ones that relate to the sort of depersonalization of the process. The virtual world has, in a sense, replaced much of the in-person world of interaction. And in the field that we practice in, which is a very personal-based area, at times that element of individual contact and direct interaction is lost to the virtual way of doing things. So there are certain negatives that we've encountered amidst all of this technological change. However, we adapt and we move forward in the best interests of our clients. The reason clients come to this firm is, of course, largely related to the reputation and the work that this firm is known to do for clients. So there are certain expectations with regard to the ways in which the lawyers in this firm can help make the lives of these clients better. People come to us with all manner of injury, often serious injury, and their lives are completely disrupted, or their families' lives are disrupted in a very serious way. They come with expectations that we're going to be able to help, not only financially, but in other ways. We get involved as part of developing their files by placing them in contact with the best health providers that we can work with in order to address their needs and in order to ensure that we have the proper foundation for successful claim. We are there for clients to assist them in their recovery, quite apart from the recovery of compensation. So by that I mean their actual physical or emotional or mental recovery along the way. And clients really do appreciate that support that we're always ready to provide to them at their request, or even if not requested, but if we identify needs that we feel ought to be addressed, we'll certainly bring that to the attention of our clients. You know, at the end of the day, the financial compensation is an important part of what we do. That's largely why people go to lawyers in this particular area of practice. It is an important part of what we do, and we try our best to maximize that for clients. But there is a much broader range of services that are provided along the way to assist clients in their recovery so that they could essentially be their best selves, notwithstanding the often very serious challenges that they face because of injuries, accidents, and whatever brings them to our firm in the first place.